Hi everyone, welcome back to Vlogmas. Today I'm going to be doing a pros and cons video about being a pediatric RN in Toronto. I'm out for my walk right now, so I thought right now would be the perfect time to kind of go over this mini list that I created. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below or even message me on Instagram or TikTok. Okay, so to start, the first pro of being a pediatric RN in Toronto is that I get to self-schedule. I think at first I was kind of conflicted when they told us we had to self-schedule because we have to self-schedule for 6 weeks out. And I don't know about you, but my friends don't know what we're going to do at the end of November when we're in September. I found it quite difficult, honestly, at first to make plans, but I don't know what happened. I guess over the year, I kind of gotten used to determining or predetermining plans, or kind of letting my friends know, like, these are the weekends that I'm going to be working. Do we have any plans these days? What are you doing for your birthday? And like, I'm asking these questions like a month out, and it honestly eases my mind because I'm someone who's quite type A and I like to know things ahead of time and I like to know the plan. So although at first I thought the 6 weeks was kind of crazy, now I know what I'm going to be doing at the end of December because I had to plan it in advance. And then obviously things can come up last minute. They'll just have to follow your schedule. And if it doesn't work out, you can also switch your shifts around, right? Like, whatever your schedule is not set in stone. Like, you can ask other people if they'd be willing to go ahead and switch shifts with you, which I also really love. I don't really switch shifts that often, honestly. I just try to make it work, but that is an option as well. And you can switch with people who are, as long as they're in the same seniority, then it works out, because obviously you don't want to switch shifts with someone who just started on the floor when you've been on the floor for a year, because they're not considered the same seniority. So that would be the only kind of thing that would limit you in terms of switching shifts. But otherwise, I really love the self-scheduling. And then when it comes to like the Christmas schedule, the way that we work it is you either work the 24th, 25th, 26th, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 1. And it's not a first come, first serve. It's more so like a request. And I requested to work 27, 28, 29, just because last year I worked 30, 31. I didn't work 1 because I was on orientation and we weren't allowed to work any stat holidays. But I requested the middle because obviously I celebrate Christmas, and then New Year's I have plans as well. So I was hoping that I would get the middle, and I did. And I don't find that it's too hard to get the selection that you want, because I feel like some people do want to work Christmas because, maybe they don't celebrate it or they celebrate it at a different time. And then some people just hate New Year's and would rather work New Year's. So I find it's very balanced on my unit, and it's very easy to get what you want. Now, one con with working as a pediatric RN is it's very specialized. At least my floor is very specialized. I find that a lot of the peripheral hospitals, so the hospitals that surround my pediatric hospital, are unaware of how to handle certain diagnoses that we handle on my floor, and that's why they send them to us. One example is Hirschsprung's. I had never heard of Hirschsprung's until I worked at my hospital, and I'm like 70% sure that if I were to ask another pediatric RN at a different hospital, they would maybe know what it is, but I don't think they would know kind of how we handle it on our floor. Same goes with like appendicitis. Not that no one would know what it is, it's just I find that a lot of peripheral hospitals around my hospital send any kids who have appendicitis to our hospital, whether that's because we want to handle it with a drain or they just think that we'd handle it better. I'm not too sure, or they just don't have the capacity to do so. They'll send it to us. But with that and all that specialization, I feel like we're very specialized. We get all the specialized patients, and then anything that's not too specialized, I feel goes to like the peripheral hospitals, because they can handle it, obviously. But that just means there's a certain workflow that we follow, and we follow it well, but we kind of stay within that realm when it comes to diagnoses. There are certain times where we do get ones that we don't see very often, but I still consider that a specialization, because again, a typical peripheral hospital wouldn't deal with it. They would send it to a pediatric hospital such as my own. And although I love the skills that I received from being a specialized kind of nurse, I feel like there's some generalized skills that I'm missing. And this kind of brings me to my next con of not being able to do like certain nursing skills. Don't know how to do blood work. I don't know how to start an IV. That is not something we do on my floor. We call people, we page phlebotomy, we page vascular access, and we ask them if they can come, take blood work, go ahead and start an IV. We don't do it on my floor. I don't mind that I don't do it, because truthfully, it could take a lot of time depending on if they're a hard poke or not. But it is a skill that I wish I had, because when you're thinking about going to a different hospital, it is something that they're looking for, right? Not that I think I will necessarily go to another hospital for bedside, just because, you know, I've told myself time and time again that this is probably the last place I'll go, like the current hospital I'm at, for bedside. But when you look at other jobs, they say they want phlebotomy experience, they want you to be able to start an IV, and I can't say that I know how to do that. All of that being said, there are opportunities to learn how to do those things at my hospital, and I'm looking into them just so I can have them. It's a great skill to have, even if you don't use it. I just think that it would be a missed opportunity to not be able to learn how to do that, especially learn how to do it for free, because there are classes that there are classes that teach you how to do it, but why would I do a class when I could literally just do it for free? This next one is not necessarily a pro or a con. I think it's a pro and a con. Yeah, I think it's both. So orientation is probably the most intense, I don't know, how long was it? 2-3 months that I have ever experienced working as a nurse. It was 8-hour classes with 12-hour shifts in the same week. And you need to be able to obviously reach your full FTE with those courses as well as those shifts. And so I felt like I was working every day, like every single day. And typically as a bedside nurse, you're usually working 3 to 4 shifts a week. I was probably working 5 to 6 times a week. And it was hard. I will say it was the hardest thing. I was miserable. I was tired. I was like, is this life even for me? And I truly don't know how I survived. It was so hard. All of that being said, it was a great orientation. I learned so much, and I was able to obviously gain skills I needed to work on my floor. And I think it was needed, because if they had thrown me in with no orientation, or just 3 days of orientation, or a week of orientation, I would have been like, this is not enough. So it is the perfect amount of training. I just think that the schedule is crazy. I am so glad I'm not doing that anymore, and I'm much happier with just my 3 shifts a week. But yeah, both a pro and a con. The next con I have is that it's downtown. I recently moved back home, and I'll probably make a video about me moving back home, but driving downtown from the West End sucks. Okay, it sucks. It literally does suck. There's no way to put it. There's no positives. It sucks. And specifically for night shifts. Day shifts is fine, because I leave around like 6 o'clock, 5:50, and I get there in like 30 minutes. It's great. I don't live that far from the hospital kilometer wise, but in the evening to get there for a night shift, I leave at 5:30. And last week, I think it took me 2 hours to get there. I was late, and a lot of us were actually coming from the West End, so we were all late. Luckily, I was still able to relieve the nurses at a pretty good time, but I was stuck in a car for 2 hours, right? And I just, that's annoying. That is so annoying. And it's the traffic that surrounds it. It's the Gardner that sucks. I never take the Don Valley Parkway, but I'm pretty sure the Don Valley Parkway sucks too. It just, when you don't live downtown, it's hard to get there. And although obviously I moved back and I made the conscious decision to move back to the West End, I wouldn't trade living there to be closer to the hospital necessarily, because I do love living in the suburbs, oddly enough. Again, I will talk about it in a different video, but it's just when I have to head to work for a night shift, I really feel it. I feel it very, very hard. My last pro about working as an RN in general, not necessarily one in Toronto or being a pediatric RN or anything like that, is just the ability to be able to grow within the field. I have always said, even before I started nursing school, that I probably won't be in bedside forever. I told myself that I want to be able to grow within the profession and be able to find other career opportunities that align with nursing, but is not necessarily at the bedside. And you can find that literally right on your own careers website. I have a position that I'm starting in January, which will only be 0.3 of my full-time FTE, but it's very exciting, where I won't be at bedside, but I'll actually be in an educator position with the IV pumps that we use at the hospital. And although it's a short time position, it's only until April, it is something that I can add to my resume. It's something that I'm interested in, and I love teaching. So I'm very excited to get started. And it's something that I found on my careers page. Like I didn't go out of my way, go on Indeed or anything. It literally was an opportunity within the hospital internally. And so with that, I definitely recommend those who are interested to look on your careers website, see if there's opportunities that you can take advantage of, where you can do part-time on your unit and part-time doing something else. I think that the skills that you learn as a bedside nurse are perfect to be the foundation for anything that you decide to do later on. And I think taking advantage of opportunities that you are interested in is so important, and looking into those opportunities are also important as well. Another example of an opportunity I take advantage of recently is I'm doing a RN prescribing course. And although in Ontario you are not allowed to prescribe within the hospital like as a nurse, that's okay. It's for later on in life. It's supposed to be something that I plan on using later on as an RN who may not be working as a bedside nurse, and maybe I'll be working in a clinic and I need those skills. It's a free course. I signed up for it, I was on the wait list, and then I got in, and I'll be able to prescribe after I finish and successfully complete the course in April. And so it's things like that, where look into things that interest you and look at how you can take advantage of your current opportunities to then get you to the next step. So yeah, those are the pros and cons of being an RN, being a pediatric RN in Toronto. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, let me know. And if you have any other video ideas that you want to see about being a nurse, also let me know. And I'll see you in the next Vlogmas.